Hello.
Hello.
My name is William. I'm going to be walking you through the session today. Before we begin, I have some info and a couple of questions for you. I'm going to read it to make sure that I cover everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're asking you to try using an application that we've been working on so we can see whether it works as intended. The session should take 30 to 40 minutes. The first thing I want to make clear right away is that we're testing the app, not you. You can't do anything wrong here. Also, please don't worry that you're going to hurt our feelings. We are doing this to improve the app, so we need to hear your honest reactions, the good, the bad, and especially the ugly. So as you use the app, I'm going to ask you as much as possible to try and think out loud, to say what you're looking at, what you're trying to do, and what you think about the app. This will be a great help to us. If you have any questions as we go along, just ask them. I may not be able to answer them right away since we're interested in how people do when they don't have somebody sitting next to them. But if you still have questions when we're done, we will definitely answer them. You will notice there's a camera pointing at the iPhone. With your permission, we're going to record what happens on the iPhone and capture the conversation. The recording will not be posted online. It will only be used by people who are working to improve the app.
Okay.
Any questions?
Who is developing the app? I didn't even look at the company
Sure.
name.
So it's a company called Nant Mobile Health, which is a company underneath the umbrella company of NantWorks, which is owned by Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong.
Of St. John's? No.
Yeah.
No,
I think originally wasn't he? Or he was connected to it?
well-known doctor in the LA area, founder of several pharmaceutical companies in Metro Abraxane.
Yeah.
So Nat Mobile Health is kind of part of his brainchild to develop patient-focused technology. So we on this team develop patient-centric technology. Nat Health does hospital technologies, and Nat Genomics does genomic technologies.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So this page that you're now seeing would be if you had just downloaded the app from the App Store and launched the app from the icon on your desktop.
Okay.
And these are wireframes. Let me give you a little background explanation. It's sort of like sketches before you do a painting. So these are very rough. And a lot of the form fields, or all of the form fields, don't work, so you pretend, but the buttons do work.
Okay. For instance, that one, if I want to join email.
Yeah, so you can just pretend that you put in your email, your password.
And then my password, and confirm password, and then join. Oh, farce look. That's very cute.
And then this would be a loading splash screen. So
okay. I mean, do you actually want me to touch these things, or?
You don't have to. I mean, if you have questions,
okay.
Just. You know, like if one of these or none of these are none of the above, you know, that's the sort of stuff we want to hear.
And then I'm supposed to touch this again?
That would be a loading page.
Okay.
I'll give you a brief overview of this. Yeah. So, as you were walking through the onboarding process, if you had answered unsure, so thinking back to when you were first diagnosed, the timeline from when you felt you should get checked to when you were checked to when you got a diagnosis, right? That could have been a several weeks span.
Or longer. I was
or longer.
misdiagnosed.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that. So this is going to be a new feature that we're kind of brainstorming at the moment, where any of the questions that you said you were unsure of.
But I didn't unsure anything.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
I know you didn't. But I'm just saying, in the sense that if you had done that, we would archive those questions here, and this panel would expand open,
I
and
see.
you could go and talk to your doctor to complete your profile, because this enables you to, the more accurate this is and the more filled in this is, or the more questions answered, the more relevant the content
I see.
becomes.
So am I pretending that I don't know this answer, or am I?
You can skip that one for
Okay.
now.
So
This would be your home page, your landing page right after you. And
I would want knowledge library and clinical trials.
okay.
And I would want it all.
So clinical trials hasn't been built out yet, but
Okay.
you click on knowledge library.
Or evidence-based, is evidence-based
Yeah,
treatment on?
That
Okay.
one's there.
Okay.
What do you think of the name evidence-based treatment?
It confused me.
Okay.
I call it standard of care, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. That would be one thing only. Evidence-based. You defined it early on, so then I just went with it, didn't you? Evidence-based meaning things that are currently being used and are working.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas,
But from a consumer patient perspective,
right.
how do you feel about that? Does that speak to you? Is that something you'd be like, oh, I need to click on that? Or
So are you asking me because of the terminology or the concept of wanting to know what treatments are out there?
both?
I don't care what you call it, as long as you define it early on. And I don't know whether there's already a term that's being used. And as far as wanting to know what evidence-based treatment is out there for my cancer, yeah, I would want to know everything, you know, and God, cancer is so different, I was going to say, and the success rates are, but you can't really because everything is so different. I mean, even in stage 4. So I don't know if that answers your question. I want more facts than less. Even if I can't understand them, then I can
Look them up. Okay.
Okay, I did stage 4 next. So, it's a tough one because I have adenoid carcinoma, but it's invasive.
The page is actually scrolling.
Oh, there's more. Oh, thank you.
But it may not be there.
It'd be like a combination. And there's no other so that you can fill in your. Adenoid cystic carcinoma does not imply, is that inclusive of invasive? Stage 4, it doesn't really, because then later on you use the word invasive, you only use the word invasive
Once.
well,
A couple times.
and I don't know invasive metaplastic carcinoma. I don't remember that from my pathology report. So
Okay.
I'll just, anything? Does it matter?
Well, I mean, it's all good feedback, yes. For the test, you can just have next.
Next. Oops. There. What did I just do? Systemic. I just went ahead.
What do you think of the font size?
Of the font. Well,
the-
I'm nearsighted, so it's okay. I would probably turn it so that it would be a little bit bigger.
Okay.
But I'm old, you know, like for a younger woman, I think. Okay, so I can't go backwards, right? Because I felt like I just
Should be able to.
went through a page by accident. I like this. Do you want, if it says 22%, do you need to plug it in for charging? Or?
No.
No, okay.
You said the doctor, the first doctor, diagnosed your cancer. How long did it take?
Well, it's just that my symptoms were pulmonological. I had cough, you know, I had GERD, I had all these symptoms that they were treating those symptoms. And even though I was being treated as though I had asthma or GERD, my problems weren't being taken care of.
Right.
And so then it was basically, I kept showing up and they're like, oh no, everything is fine. Every test that I had, I was normal, I was fine, even though I was having problems. It took about maybe 2 years. I was bedridden. My husband thought I was going to die, and he just like dragged me into the doctor's office, and he said, "You're missing something." And so then I went. They found like a lot of cracked ribs from the coughing, and then they started giving me all the tests: MRIs, X-rays, PET scans, CT scans, and every day I was going, and they still couldn't really find anything. They found secondary tumors. They couldn't find the primary tumor, and that took probably another month to figure out how to approach it. And they figured out they had to just go exploratory. And I left, and I thought, I've had cancer before, and the first time it was stage 0, and I was so freaked out. I was screaming all over the place, how to get treated, how to get over it. And this time I'm like, a month is going to be fine. I'm going to Europe with my son, and not coming back. So they presented the case to tumor board. They decided to deflate my lung and go in and look. And then they found cancer cells on my chest wall, which to this day still can't be seen on any test. And so I didn't know what cancer was. They said it was breast cancer, stage 4, which I thought was great. I was really happy because if any other, there's so many treatments available. And so then I met a woman who is a doctor who's leading a clinical trial on, you've heard of palbociclib, do you know the drugs that are out there?
Yep.
So this is Novartis's challenger to palbociclib. So I'm on the clinical trial for that really well. I didn't have a voice. I couldn't get out of bed. I was just miserable. And then little by little, I was able to go to the grocery store. And so now I'm not back to normal. I can't. Nighttime is, all my activities were at night, going to different groups and things like that. That's not happening anymore, but I'm still part, I'm still part of life. I can drive and go places. I just have to, rest when I need to rest. Be careful. But anyway, so the clinical trial has been great. I'm on my 17th one.
Where did you see this doctor find this?
She's actually the Angeles Clinic is part, you're not supposed to do this, but was a partner of my oncologist who, you know, they have different locations, like the clinical trials have to be held in West LA, in a specific building that has a specific machines, and I always have to go there, even though that doctor's office is here in Santa Monica near St. John's. And so, you know, I did, my one friend who is a chief of pediatrics at Kaiser insisted on coming with me, and her brother is a pathologist, had a pathologist party. So they helped me a lot in kind of like figuring out, do I do this? Do I not do this? And so then I decided to do the trial, and it's been going well, you know.
You haven't had any surgery, radiation?
I had a mistake, well, the surgery, the exploratory surgery, and then 23 years ago when I had my stage 0, I had a mastectomy. It was all clear, everything was perfect. I was told I was cured at 5 years. So the thing is that when they're following you up after you've had a mastectomy, there's nothing there to put in the mammogram machine.
Yep.
So that's where my cancer came out. So they had no idea.
Was it the
They
same
were
type?
examining. They destroyed the slides after 20 years at UCLA. I got it at 20, you know, so they found this at 23 years, so they really can't tell. That's what they think, since the location is the same. But
So when the doctor couldn't figure out, did you even try to get second opinion or to talk to
Well, I
talk with other
changed
experts? Yeah.
well, before I knew I had cancer, I thought I had a lung problem. So yeah, you know, this lung doctor that I was going to is chief of staff of one of the top hospitals here, and my internist kept saying, he's really good, he's really good. And I finally said, I don't like him. I went to somebody else, and she was the one that found the lesion in the spine, and they said, hey, and then that's when we started looking for cancer. Nobody was looking for cancer. So yeah.
They even didn't do a comprehensive test, right? It sounds like they did do all the tests. Later on, they can conduct more testing.
Sorry, I'm going to turn.
It sounds like they didn't even do all the testing.
They were just
testing.
looking at my lungs.
Oh, I see.
So I was having x-rays done, I had ultrasounds, you know, I had colonoscopies, I had breathing tests, I had all kinds of things. We thought it was the lungs and the stomach. But in reality, there was a node here that was very swollen, and it must have been pressing on my throat, which made it difficult to swallow, which made me cough, which, you know, so it never occurred to anybody. I mean, I was discussed in the area. I was like, people are like, God, you know, my internist calls me the miracle woman or something, because, and I go to a support group here, and this isn't an unusual case. I don't know how many people you've interviewed, but so many people here are misdiagnosed for a long time, and they go to their doctor for something completely different. And then it takes a while, and then they find out it's cancer. A lot of people, a lot of women. So
Okay.
it's an insidious drug. And like I told you, they found it. You can't see it. I get tested every other month with CT scan, without contrast. I get a bone scan. I blood test every month. You know, these are there. They're just there. And, you know, kind of guess what's going on. Put all the information together. So anyway.
Yes,
Okay.
the back button now works.
Okay.
There's a button right over the button.
Okay. A button right over the button. Okay. So this is where I started. Aromastin. Okay. So it says stages 1 to 3, but I clicked in that I was 4. But this is just because it's adjuvant.
It's placeholder information.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Now you can test the back button.
The back button. Oh, this back button.
Yeah.
But I wanted to. Now I want to continue.
Yeah, you can go for it.
So do I just go? It's just a scrolling thing. So placeholder. So I don't need to be reading this, right?
Well, it would be great if you click through and give us your opinion on the font sizes
Okay.
and the
No.
length of articles.
So if I click on this, I want to do a drug more than Radiotherapy. Come on, darling. Maybe I did it again. Well, they're all the same format, right?
Yeah.
So I could just look
Yeah.
at,
It's actually okay.
okay, there it is.
What do you think about the font size there? Is that
It's okay. It's okay. I said, you know, I tend to, I can't pick this up, right? I'll leave it alone. So yeah, I would just get close to it or something. And I would probably prefer to look at it on my iPad for this kind of
Let me show
info.
you the other one then.
That's nicer. But then, yeah, and then you have to scroll. That's much nicer. I'm spitting all over your phone here.
It's okay. I have a 3-year-old
Yeah.
and a 5-year-old.
There you go. So yeah, I like this better.
Okay, good. How do you feel about the length of the article? Would that be something you would consume?
Yeah.
No issues scrolling vertically and consuming the article of that length?
No, none at all. See, low power. It's like,
Do you have a plug?
Yeah, I can just plug it in from. But it's 20%. You're still going to go for it. Yeah.
a typo. Doesn't matter.
What do you think about the language on the article? Is it too much jargon?
Too what? Too much jargon?
Yeah.
Medical.
No. So we have, I'm just going to split it into two different kinds of people in my support group. The people that just want to trust their doctors.
Yeah.
They don't look on the computer. They don't care. And then people that are, you know, checking out all the time. You know, I'm careful about where to go. You know, I'll go to, you know, accredited cancer sites, you know, like the NIH or NCI or, you know, look at ASCO or whatever. So, but I'm always looking. And then sometimes things pop up. So I like facts. I like, even if I don't understand them, you know, it's like, I read something a year ago about some kind of CDK inhibitor that didn't make any sense, you know, and I thought, well, what? But then this year I read more about that research trial and I thought, oh, I should ask my doctor about that. So even if I don't understand it today, just exposing myself and, you know, eventually it sinks in because I knowledge is power. I need to be a part of this. You know, one of the doctors said, oh, that's just because patients want to have control. And I think, well, you guys are really busy too, you know, and I just want to know what's going on. And I guess, I don't know, if other people complain about it being so long, then maybe you could just do that thing where it's like one line and then you say more. You know better than, okay, so there's a typo here. Do you care? No, okay. Huh, funny. Got into this one. Okay. So more about this, related topics. So these are clickable, the breast cancer, no. When you,
Ideally, would be.
okay. Complementary and alternative medicine. Okay, so now do I go to the next one or what would you like me to do?
Cheat sheet here. Do you own an iPad?
I do.
Do you take your iPad with you when you see your doctor?
No, I don't.
Would you use
I
it?
do sometimes, but I don't use it with her. If I'm going to record something,
Mhm.
I use my phone.
Okay.
I usually prepare questions and put them on my phone.
Gotcha. Why did you use my phone? Say, hey,
Because sometimes I forget my iPad. I always have my phone, although today I've lost it somewhere. I don't know where it is. But so my phone is always there, you know. And anyways, the things are all, like if I have my iPad, I can pull that same information. But
So the question is, are email or like where do you?
usually a laptop email.
Oh.
But I will read. It's just annoying to read it. I'll read it if I have to, like it's something that I'm waiting for. But or the iPad. My iPad mini is okay for reading.
No, not at all.
No, you're great. Let's see.
So also, and the other part is this is information, so I'm not going to be doing it at my office. This is something I'll do before I go to my doctor or after I come from my doctor. But at my doctor, I'm asking questions. She's giving me answers. And also it's a trial, so it's like everything is so prescribed. So I may be a different person that you're interviewing. Yeah.
Mhm.
They ask the same questions every month and do it. So, okay, so
Do you record your doctor visits? How do you?
not everything now. I did at the beginning when she was explaining all the different things, all the different options, and but really it's pretty straightforward now. I'm in, they have recently been acquired by Cedars-Sinai, so they're learning a whole new computer system, and eventually there'll be a portal and I can access my information, but up until now I've been asking for paper copies of all my tests that they perform on me so that I can keep them. I learned from my first round that you need to be responsible for your own file,
Oh, yes.
I know. So you said you were asking for the same question again?
Oh, because of the clinical trial, it's a script, the doctor has to ask me. She'll ask me how I am and I'll tell her and I'll show her or whatever. And she has to examine me. But all the questions are the same every month. Do you have nausea? They've asked, how are you? What's your energy level like? Do you have nausea? Do you have this? And the nurse asks me the questions and the doctor comes in and asks me a set of different questions. They're usually all the same. They just have to report to the trial controller or whatever you call it. Anyway.
You want to make sure that you're still doing well on the trial.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? The other thing about trials now is like, you don't stay on a trial if you're not doing well. As soon as the cancer comes back, you're out. They don't keep you around. Like before, I always thought that you just it was a gamble.
Yeah.
That's not the case. You're out of there if it doesn't work, and you are on to a different treatment or trial or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't keep you around, which is, and you can always drop out if you get tired of being tested every so much. And
You gotta wonder, like, how does that affect the number outcome though?
Yeah.
If the people who aren't performing well, or what they like to call fail out of chemo, which I'm like, wait a second, how did you fail out of chemo? Didn't chemo fail you?
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, into this whole other area here. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done a lot of research.
Right.
But
So this one's all oral.
how does that affect the numbers?
Right.
If you're saying, oh, you're not doing well, you're out.
Right. So then they adjust.
Do the numbers get adjusted?
Yeah.
That this performed really well.
They get
And
mentioned.
that these people exited because of side effects
Right.
or allergic reactions.
All that
or
stuff is in the
whatever.
report.
Yeah.
I hadn't read mine, but I finally was reading because you get this thick thing that you have to sign, and like you see, I just sign it, and then the other night I just by accident read, and they reported on the people who had died from taking this drug. Me too, but still, I was like, oh, why didn't I catch that the first time? But, So, anyways, there were oral drugs, and they're supposed to double the span of time that you can take an aromatase inhibitor.
Okay.
So if it lasts, 10 to 12 months, then this will be fighting another cycle where the cancer doesn't get a chance to get on its feet. And so you get it at a time, and eventually the cancer will figure it out, and then I go on to something else. But for now, it's working. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think they adjust the numbers. I think they have to account for they start with a particular number, and then they have to account for all those people.
I don't know what kind of category for that. I'm not sure that would consider as like, unsuccessful rate something. I'm not sure. I'm saying they say like how many people drop out or something, so not considered.
And then they'll say of the 27 that remain,
Right, exactly. They use that.
this percentage, these reacted this way, this reacted this way. I mean, it's not just Novartis. Then they're reviewed by an independent review board, and the government has a whole. I mean, this is not something that you can just do like a private company, So there are a lot of eyes.
In terms of the social and supportive aspect of your treatment, can you walk us through what that is like, who you've shared your journey with, and how they have supported you?
So before I had a diagnosis, I was becoming very isolated because I couldn't keep up my social commitments. And so that was very depressing. And then even after I started treatment, I still couldn't drive at night, and couldn't go to my usual groups or whatever, and singing. And then I guess after about 2 months where I was able to leave my house, I found a support group here. And it just charged my life. It changed my life completely, just being in a room with other stage 4 women. One of them has passed away since, and she was like 20 years younger than me. So, but part of it is understanding, what's going on. The other part is the exchange of information, because with stage 4, all the attention goes to the earlier stages and awareness and survivors and thrivers. And what they're trying to do now is like get the metastatic part of the picture more in the eye of, more in the attention of everybody, because people don't die of stage 1 to 3. They die of metastatic breast cancer. It's like, even here, sometimes if we run into somebody who has breast cancer at stage 1, they go, oh! So there's a whole mystery about, they expect these, dreary ladies, just miserable. And we have dragon boaters, hikers, scuba divers, people working full time, artists, lawyers, and they come in, you'd never know you're in a stage 4 room, and that's incredibly beneficial. It's that's the emotional, psychosocial part of your whole integrated personality that has been, to me, it's been an essential part of my healing. And I was in San Diego for the summer, and I missed it. I mean, you can go to a support group in San Diego, but it's not set up like this. Because this has a support group, but they also have like yoga classes, exercise. You could just come in and sit on the sofa, and read a book. So it's a very safe place. A lot of the people that are in positions of executive, they've had cancer too. So it's just it normalizes cancer, which is huge. So it's extremely important. Okay.
That was fun. That's exactly what we want you to do.
You should be doing most of the talking.
Okay.
Having been through it.
I've already been through it.
No.
Oh.
I meant you
Cancer.
in general, in perspective. Are there any other features or suggestions, anything you think we should be adding to the app?
You know what? Right now, I would say no, but I don't think really fast. I wonder, would you be amenable to, just in case something comes up, that I could say, hey, because as it stands right now, you punch in your whatever qualities or whatever, your characteristics, and then the app will show you what's available. Like, what about experimental stuff? Does it cover experimental stuff? Does it cover, integrative? stuff, like the vitamins and the nutrition and all that other stuff. There's a
Yeah,
lot
we're
of interest on
thinking
that.
stuff like that might show up in the knowledge library.
Okay.
And on the homepage here, because this is
Okay.
all articles down here.
Okay,
along with
that's
this
also
as well.
good. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
look at all that. Oh, metastatic cancer. That's me. Is there anything in there?
No,
Not yet. There's this very important conference that all oncologists go to called ASCO.
Okay.
And every year it's like everybody's waiting to hear, oh, what did they say in ASCO? What comes out of ASCO? Everybody wants to know what the latest. That's when they come in and say, oh, this is the trial we're doing, or this is the drug we're doing, and it's huge. So much information comes out, it's impossible for us to really access as we kind of like depend on our doctors,
Mhm.
Or online, media sites. Okay, about treatment, misconception, metastatic cancer. So,
ASCO, right?
Huh?
ASCO.
yeah, something, American Society of, no, it can't be cancer. Anyways, if you Google ASCO, it'll come up.
American Society of Clinical.
There you go,
Oncology.
clinical. So that's a very hot. And I don't know whether, so have you interviewed anybody with metastatic cancer yet? So there is, I don't even know whether this matters, but there's a brewing movement right now having to do with the fact that we feel neglected. We feel like, what is it called? A CER. It's a registry that when you have cancer, you're entered into this registry, the government. But when you have a recurrence, you're not. So it's not an accurate number of women that have metastatic cancer. They only register the women that have metastatic cancer from the get-go. So they're trying to change that, and so we think that's why the funds get allocated. So many funds get allocated to the earlier stages because they don't know how many of us there are. So now there's like they're getting a little bit kind of like you are all too young for this, but during the AIDS crisis, people were dying and it just seemed like nothing was being done. And then there was this organization called ACTA that formed, and they started disseminating information and pressuring for research and having raising people's awareness, and a lot of those people are kind of creating something for the metastatic breast cancer movement the same, and they just did this thing that was the first time, so it was very small, they call it a die-in. So like 108 women are dying every day. They went to the White House and 108 women lay on the lawn, for a few minutes just to show, this is how many bodies every day.
Yeah.
So there's like a little activism kind of coming up there. There's a problem with the prognosis. They lump everybody in. So in my room, I'm in my first line of treatment. I'm doing really well. There's, like I said, the younger women have the more aggressive cancers. And they've had cancer since they're like in their early 30s, late 20s. They've been through 6 lines of therapy. They've lost their hair. So it's like, even though it's stage 4, there's just this wide, there are different kinds of cancers that are more aggressive than others. And I think that there's not enough information. There's a lot of information about the earlier stages, and there isn't enough. But there could be more about metastatic breast cancer.
I think some of that comes from, this is personal opinion based on personal experience, is that it's based on numbers.
Yeah, and those numbers are faulty.
And well, they're faulty, but it's also who gets what funding is based on the number of cases, because everybody wants to solve big numbers. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why this registry is weighing the scale towards the earlier stages. So this Saturday, the Susan G. Komen Foundation, who has been a butt of a lot of criticism from metastatic breast cancer patients, sponsored a metastatic breast cancer conference. 300 women in a room treated all of these different hospitals in LA. And then next year, there's also a resentment with the pink thing. It's like so many companies selling pink things and not necessarily donating the profits.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then also the pink thing being a party, like a pink party, and it's like, hello, dying. So this coming year for the, what is it, Run for a Cure or something like that they do every year, they're going to put a lot more focus on metastatic breast cancer. I think they're going to have, lectures or conferences or information. So it's like, we're kind of being brought into the fold as opposed to we're kind of hidden, like the old person with, weird disability or something. So I guess that's what I would say. Make sure that you pay attention to us, the metastatic breast cancer community. Okay.
That's great feedback.
Okay.
There's a documentary on Netflix about the Suzanne, that breast cancer scandal.
Say that again.
The
Suzanne's-
document, the breast cancer organization